The massive alien ship appeared in Earth's orbit on a quiet Tuesday morning. Its arrival sent waves of excitement and fear through the entire human population. The ship was beautiful, shaped like a silver leaf and stretching nearly 3 miles long. Earth's governments scrambled to respond, but before they could, a message arrived in perfect English. "We come in peace." Tom Walker stood in the United Nations Assembly Hall, his heart racing as he watched the alien representatives walk down the central aisle. As Earth's leading expert in ancient civilizations and their technologies, he had been chosen to be part of the first contact team. The aliens called themselves the Stellar Concordat, a federation of 17 different species who had united for peaceful exploration and trade. The alien leader, who introduced himself as High Ambassador Val, was tall and graceful with blue-tinted skin that seemed to shimmer under the lights. "We have watched your civilization with great interest," he said, his voice carrying easily through the hall. "Your rapid technological advancement is remarkable for an undiscovered species." Tom noticed something odd about Val's ceremonial robes. The patterns along the edges looked strangely familiar, similar to designs he had seen in ancient ruins on Earth. He made a mental note to investigate this later. The meeting proceeded smoothly, with the aliens sharing information about their federation and technology. They offered Earth membership in their concordat, along with access to faster-than-light travel and advanced medical technology. However, Tom noticed the alien scientists in the delegation kept giving each other strange looks whenever they discussed human biology. Later that evening, in his temporary office at the UN building, Tom examined photographs of the alien delegation. He compared their ceremonial patterns to images from his archaeological database. The similarities were striking. Too striking to be coincidence. The same spiral patterns appeared in ruins from ancient Egypt, in Mayan temples, and now on alien ceremonial robes. A knock at his door interrupted his research. It was Dr. Ray, one of the alien scientists. Unlike the others, Ray had gray skin and large, expressive eyes that reminded Tom of old photographs of owls. "May I enter?" Ray asked politely. Tom welcomed him in, curious about this unexpected visit. Ray moved to the desk where Tom's research was spread out. "You see it too, don't you?" Ray asked quietly, pointing to the pattern comparisons. "The similarities?" "Yes," Tom replied. "They're too precise to be random." Ray nodded slowly. "Our scientists are puzzled by human DNA. It's both primitive and advanced at the same time, in ways we can't explain. And these patterns," he gestured at Tom's research, "they appear in ruins across the galaxy, in places that predate our oldest civilizations." Tom felt a chill run down his spine. "What are you suggesting?" "I'm not suggesting anything yet," Ray said carefully. "But I would like to work with you. There are ruins on a planet in the Centauri system that I think you should see." Before Tom could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the building. They rushed to the window and looked up at the night sky. The alien ship was glowing, and beams of light were shooting down to various points around the globe. "Don't worry," Ray said quickly, seeing Tom's concerned expression. "Those are just the activation signals for our gift. A network of atmospheric cleaners to help with your pollution problems." But Tom wasn't worried. He was fascinated. The beams of light were targeting specific locations that matched ancient sacred sites perfectly. Sites that had puzzled archaeologists for centuries because they seemed to serve no practical purpose. As he watched the lights dance across the sky, Tom knew that humanity had just stepped into something much bigger than simple first contact. There were too many coincidences, too many connections. He looked at Ray and saw the same realization in the alien's eyes. The truth about humanity's past was out there, hidden in ruins across the galaxy, and somehow connected to these patterns that bridged Earth's ancient past with the advanced alien present. Tom didn't know what it all meant yet, but he was determined to find out. The alien ship cut through space smoothly, carrying Tom and the research team to the ruins on the distant world. He spent most of his time in the observation deck, watching the stars streak by. Even after 3 weeks of space travel, He couldn't get used to the view. Earth was now just another bright dot in the endless black of space. Ray joined him at the window, holding 2 cups of a warm drink that tasted like mint tea. "We'll arrive tomorrow," the alien scientist said, passing 1 cup to Tom. "These ruins are different from any others we found. They're older, much older." Tom took a sip of the drink and nodded. During the journey, he had studied the preliminary scans of the site. The ruins spread across an area larger than New York City, but most of it lay underground. The parts that showed above the surface looked like mountain peaks made of metal and stone. The next morning, their ship landed in a valley surrounded by these strange peaks. Tom put on his environmental suit, the planet's air was too thin to breathe, and followed Ray out onto the surface. The ground was covered in reddish dust that reminded him of Mars. But what caught his attention were the walls rising before them. "Look at this," Tom said, walking up to one of the walls. He brushed away dust to reveal familiar patterns, the same spirals and lines he had seen on the alien robes and in Earth's ancient ruins. But here they were bigger, clearer, and seemed to glow faintly under his touch. Ray pulled out a scanner. "These walls are made of a material we've never been able to identify. It's stronger than anything we can make, and it seems to respond to physical contact." The team spent hours documenting the outer walls. Tom noticed that other alien scientists kept their distance from him, whispering among themselves when they thought he wasn't looking. Only Ray seemed comfortable working closely with him. Near sunset, they found an entrance. It was a perfect circle, 30 feet across, with those same patterns running around its edge. Ray's scanner showed a long tunnel leading down into the planet. The alien research team wanted to wait until morning to explore it, but Tom felt drawn to it. Something about those patterns pulled at him, like a half-remembered dream. "We should go in now," he said firmly. The other scientists argued, but Ray supported him. In the end, they agreed to let Tom and Ray make a quick initial exploration, connected to the surface team by radio. The tunnel sloped gently downward, its walls smooth and covered in more glowing patterns. Their lights revealed branching corridors every few hundred feet, but they stayed on the main path. After walking for 20 minutes, they entered a vast chamber. "This is impossible," Ray whispered. The chamber was filled with machines, all of them looking brand new despite their age. Holographic displays flickered to life as they walked past, showing star maps and diagrams Tom couldn't understand. But the writing on the displays, he recognized some of the symbols. "These look like early Earth writing systems," Tom said, his voice shaking with excitement. "Look, this one is similar to ancient Sumerian, and that one has elements of Proto-Chinese characters." Ray was scanning everything, his device beeping rapidly. "Tom, according to these readings, this place is at least 5 million years old. That's before any known civilization in the galaxy. But these machines, they're still working. They're more advanced than anything the concordat has." Before Tom could respond, they heard footsteps. Other members of the alien research team had followed them down, ignoring the surface team's orders. They stood in the doorway, staring at the chamber with a mixture of awe and fear. One of them pointed at a large screen that had just lit up. On it, a string of numbers was counting down. Tom felt his heart racing as he realized what they were seeing. This wasn't just a ruined site, it was a facility. And after millions of years, something was starting up again. The countdown reached 0. Tom and the research team held their breath as the massive screen changed. A map of the galaxy appeared, with thousands of points of light connected by glowing lines. Then, to everyone's shock, a voice began speaking in perfect English. "Archive access granted. Welcome, children of Earth." The alien scientists backed away from the screen, but Tom stepped forward. His hands were shaking, but his voice was steady. "Who are you?" "I am the facility's artificial intelligence, created to preserve human knowledge until it was needed again." The voice was calm and clear, like a teacher speaking to students. Ray moved to stand beside Tom. "That's impossible. Humans are a young species. They've barely left their planet. The AI responded by filling the chamber with three-dimensional images. They showed great cities among the stars, ships that dwarfed even the concordat's largest vessels, and humans walking among them all. These are not images of the future, the AI said. These are memories of the past. Tom watched as the story unfolded around them. Millions of years ago, humans had built an empire that spanned the galaxy. They had seeded worlds with life, guided the evolution of new species, and built wonders that still stood today. The patterns they had found everywhere were not just decorations. They were markers, left behind to help humanity find its way back. But what happened? Tom asked, his eyes fixed on the images of humanity's ancient glory. Why did we go back to Earth? The images change, showing a dark force entering the galaxy from another dimension. The war that followed was terrible. Humanity won, but the cost was enormous. Their civilization was in ruins, and the dimensional barriers were weakened. Your ancestors made a choice, the AI explained. They could rebuild their empire, but the dimensional barriers would remain weak, risking another invasion. Or they could do something unprecedented, return to their homeworld and start over. One of the alien scientists spoke up. That's why human DNA is so strange. It's both ancient and new. Yes, the AI confirmed. The human leaders used their remaining technology to reset their species, returning to a primitive state on Earth. They sealed away their knowledge in facilities like this one, protected by technology that would only awaken when humanity reached the stars again. Tom sat down heavily on a nearby step. Everything he knew about human history had just changed. The ancient ruins on Earth, the sacred sites, they're not just ruins, are they? They are anchor points, the AI said, places where the old technology sleeps, waiting. The patterns you recognize are part of a genetic key built into human DNA. Only true humans can fully activate them. Ray was scanning everything, his device struggling to understand the technology around them. This explains so much. The speed of human development, their unusual adaptability, their strange technological leaps. They weren't just evolving, they were remembering. The chamber hummed with energy as more systems came online. Screens lit up all around them, showing similar facilities awakening across the galaxy. The AI's voice took on a more urgent tone. The time of sleep is ending. Humanity must know its true heritage, because the barriers between dimensions are weakening again. The alien scientists were talking rapidly among themselves, some excited, others afraid. But Tom barely heard them. He was looking at a small pedestal that had risen from the floor in front of him. On it sat a simple crystal, glowing with an inner light. "What is this?" he asked. "The key to humanity's past and its future," the AI answered. "Take it. It will show you everything, who you were, who you are, and who you must become again." Tom reached for the crystal. As his fingers touched its surface, the glow intensified. Knowledge began flowing into his mind, not overwhelming him, but fitting into place like pieces of a puzzle he had always carried. The truth about humanity was far grander and more terrifying than anyone had imagined. And now, ready or not, it was time for that truth to be known. News of the discovery spread through the stellar concordat like wildfire. Tom watched from the main deck of the research ship as more vessels arrived in orbit around the ruins planet. Not all of them were research ships. Some were clearly military vessels, their weapons barely hidden behind diplomatic markings. The crystal he had touched sat in a secure container beside him. Its glow had dimmed, but the knowledge it had given him remained clear in his mind. Humanity's history, their achievements, their sacrifice. It was all there, waiting to be shared. "They're calling for your arrest," Ray said, entering the room quietly. "The Concordat Science Council says you've activated dangerous technology without permission. They're claiming this is all an elaborate hoax." Tom turned away from the window. "They've seen the evidence. The AI, the technology, the genetic markers. It's all real." "That's exactly what scares them," Ray replied. If humans are truly the elder species, if they created all this. He gestured at the ruins below. Then everything the concordat believes about their own history is wrong. A message flashed on the main screen. The concordat's grand scholar was demanding an immediate meeting. Tom straightened his jacket and nodded to Ray. They had prepared for this. The meeting room was packed with alien officials. The grand scholar, a tall alien with silver skin and multiple eyes, stood at the center. His voice boomed through the chamber. This facility must be sealed. These claims about human origins are dangerous and destabilizing. Tom stepped forward, holding the crystal container. With respect, you don't have the authority to seal this facility. According to the concordat's own laws, any species that discovers evidence of their ancient history has sole rights to that discovery. That law was meant for civilized species, another official shouted, not barely spacefaring humans who stumbled upon advanced technology. The crystal began to glow brighter, responding to Tom's rising emotions. Several aliens stepped back nervously. Ray moved to stand beside Tom, facing his own people. I studied the evidence. The dating is accurate. The genetic markers are real. Humans didn't stumble upon this technology. They created it. Impossible. The grand scholar declared. Our civilizations were exploring the stars while humans were still living in caves. Tom placed the crystal on the table. As if responding to the challenge, it projected a star map showing the spread of life across the galaxy. The paths of cultivation and development were clear, all leading back to Earth. Your own DNA carries our markers, Tom said quietly. Humanity didn't just explore the stars. We seeded them. We guided the evolution of countless species, including yours. We were your guardians, your teachers, your... Enough. The grand scholar slammed his hand on the table. This meeting is over. Guards, seize them. But before anyone could move, more crystals around the room began to glow. Hidden patterns in the walls came to life, responding to Tom's presence. A gentle force field separated the guards from Tom and Ray. You can't hide the truth, Tom said. More facilities are awakening across the galaxy. Other human researchers will find them, and they'll all tell the same story. The room erupted in angry shouts and arguments. Some younger alien scientists were already coming over to Tom's side, their curiosity overcoming their fear. Others were calling for immediate military action. Ray looked at the chaos and whispered to Tom, "What do we do now?" Tom watched the crystal's light pulse gently, like a heartbeat. We keep going. Humanity needs to know the truth, and so do they. There's something bigger coming. That's why the facilities are awakening now. We need to be ready. Outside the meeting room, more ships were arriving. But now Tom could see them differently. Their designs, their technology, all of it had roots in humanity's ancient past. The children of Earth had grown up, unaware of their heritage. Now it was time for them to remember, whether the concordat liked it or not. Tom and Ray stood on the bridge of their small research ship, watching the stars blur past. They had escaped the ruins planet just before the concordat's military vessels could stop them. The crystal had given Tom coordinates to something called the Great Library, and they were racing to reach it first. Are you sure about these coordinates? Ray asked, checking their course again. We're heading into the dark zone. No ship has ever returned from there. Tom nodded, holding the crystal up to the starlight. That's because it was designed that way. The dark zone isn't naturally dangerous. It's protected. The ancient humans put their most important secrets there. Their ship's sensors began picking up strange readings. Ahead of them, space itself seemed to ripple and twist. Most ships would have turned back, but Tom felt the crystal warming in his hand, guiding them forward. There, he said, pointing at what looked like a small asteroid. But as they got closer, they saw it wasn't natural. The asteroid was perfectly smooth, its surface covered in the now familiar patterns that glowed as their ship approached. A voice filled their ship's speakers, the same AI from the ruins. Welcome to the Great Library of Humanity. Approach on your current vector. The asteroid's surface split open like a blooming flower, revealing a docking bay inside. Their ship settled gently into place as artificial gravity took hold. The air was breathable, and the temperature was perfect for humans. The library has been waiting for this moment for 5 million years, the AI said as they stepped out of their ship. Everything is preserved here. Our complete history, our greatest achievements, and the truth about why we chose to start over. They walked through halls lined with crystalline data storage units, each one containing more information than all of Earth's current computers combined. Holographic displays came to life around them, showing scenes from humanity's past. "Look at this," Ray said, stopping at one display. It showed humans teaching young alien species about science, medicine, and art. "We always wondered why so many species developed similar technologies and cultural patterns. It wasn't convergent evolution, it was education." Tom moved to a larger central chamber where a massive hologram showed Earth as it had been 5 million years ago. But why did they give it all up? Why choose to forget? The AI's voice grew solemn. "The dimensional entity we fought wasn't defeated, only contained. The barrier between dimensions was damaged in the war. Our civilization, our technology, our very presence was making the barrier weaker. The only way to protect all life in the galaxy was to step back." More images appeared, showing the ancient humans' last days. They had carefully planned their own regression, choosing Earth as their sanctuary. They sealed away their technology, wiped their own memories, and began again as primitive humans. "The patterns we left behind weren't just markers," the AI explained. "They were keys, meant to unlock slowly as humanity developed, guiding your progress. But now the dimensional barriers are weakening again. That's why the facilities are awakening. Humanity needs to remember, but differently this time." Ray was studying a star chart showing hundreds of hidden facilities across the galaxy. "The concordat won't be able to suppress this. There are too many sites, too much evidence." "No, they won't," Tom agreed. "But that's not what worries me." He turned to face the AI's central interface. "How long do we have before the dimensional barriers fail?" The library's lights dimmed slightly. "Less time than before. The entity is still there, still waiting. But this time, humanity won't face it alone. That's why we guided the evolution of other species, why we helped them develop. The children of Earth must stand together." Tom heard ships approaching outside, probably concordat vessels that had tracked them. But he wasn't worried. The library had protected itself for 5 million years. It would hold a while longer. "Show me everything," he said to the AI. "If we're going to face this threat, if we're going to unite the galaxy, we need to understand who we really are." The concordat's fleet surrounded the great library, their weapons charged but not firing. Inside, Tom watched their ships on the library's displays, while downloading as much information as he could to portable crystal drives. Ray was beside him, coordinating with other alien scientists who had chosen to help them. "The Grand Scholar is demanding we surrender," Ray said, looking at an incoming message. "They're calling this an act of rebellion against the concordat." Before Tom could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the library. The AI's voice was urgent. "Warning. Dimensional disturbances detected. The barrier weakens faster than projected." On the main screen, tears in space-time appeared as glowing cracks spreading across the stars. The concordat ships noticed them too. Their formations broke as some vessels backed away from the strange phenomenon. "We need to tell them," Tom said. "They need to know what's coming." He opened a channel to all ships in range. The Grand Scholar's face appeared on the screen, angry but also scared. "You will surrender the library and all its technology immediately." "Look at your sensors," Tom replied calmly. "Those aren't natural space phenomena. The barrier between dimensions is failing. The same entity that forced humanity to hide 5 million years ago is trying to break through again." As if to prove his point, one of the cracks widened. Something dark and impossible moved behind it, making several concordat crew members cry out in fear. The Grand Scholar's silver skin paled. "The library has defenses," Tom continued. "But they need human operators. Let us help you. Let us be what we were meant to be, guardians of this galaxy." Suddenly, more ships appeared out of faster-than-light travel. But these weren't concordat vessels. They were Earth's ships, led by Director Smith. Tom had managed to send a message to Earth before reaching the library. "This is Earth Command to all vessels." Director Smith's voice rang out. "We've detected the dimensional anomalies on all our worlds. Our ancient defense systems are activating. We stand ready to help." The library's AI spoke next, its voice reaching every ship. "Attention all species of the galaxy. The time of hiding is over. The patterns left across your worlds were not just markers. They were parts of a galaxy-wide defense network. Humanity created it. Now they must lead it again." Tom touched the crystal he still carried, and massive structures began rising from planets throughout the galaxy. They were defense platforms, hidden for millions of years, waiting for this moment. On Earth, similar structures emerged from the ancient sites, their true purpose finally revealed. The Grand Scholar watched in amazement as the defenses formed a network, visible as lines of energy connecting across space. More cracks were appearing, but the network was holding them closed. "The entity feeds on division," Tom explained. "Last time, humanity faced it alone. We won, but the cost was too high. That's why we guided your evolution, helped shape your civilizations. We needed allies who could stand with us when the time came." Ray stepped forward. "The concordat was right about one thing. We are stronger together. But they were wrong about who should lead us." The dark shapes behind the cracks were growing larger, more numerous. The concordat ships were falling into defensive formations alongside Earth vessels, their crews finally understanding the true threat. The Grand Scholar was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke. "What do you need us to do?" Tom looked at the display showing the growing cracks, then at the defense network humming with ancient power. "First, we fight together. Then we rebuild together. The age of hiding is over. It's time for humanity to be what we were meant to be. Not conquerors, not rulers, but protectors." The library's lights pulsed stronger, and Tom felt the crystal warming in his hand. Humanity's greatest challenge wasn't remembering their past. It was proving they could use that knowledge better this time. As the entity pressed against the dimensional barriers, Tom knew the real test was just beginning. 1 month after the battle at the Great Library, Tom stood in the newly created council chamber on Earth. Representatives from every species in the galaxy had gathered here, including the Grand Scholar himself. The chamber was built in what had once been an ancient temple, now revealed as one of humanity's hidden command centers. The defense network had held against the dimensional entity's first attack. The combined forces of Earth and the concordat had worked together, using the ancient technology to seal the largest cracks in space. But everyone knew this was just the beginning. "The old barriers are stronger now," Ray said, standing next to Tom and looking at the holographic display showing the galaxy. Green lines connected all the defense platforms, creating a web of protection. But maintaining them requires all species to work together, just as your ancestors planned. The Grand Scholar rose to address the gathered representatives. His silver skin had regained its shine, and his voice was clear and strong. "For thousands of years, the stellar concordat believed we were the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. We were wrong. Our pride blinded us to the truth. We were all part of a greater plan." Tom touched the crystal he now wore as a pendant. All human representatives wore one, each containing part of their species' recovered knowledge. They had decided not to restore everything at once. This time, they would advance slowly, teaching others as they relearned themselves. "The dimensional entity is not defeated," Tom reminded everyone. "It tests the barriers daily, looking for weaknesses. But now we face it together, as we were meant to." Director Smith stepped forward with a data crystal. "We've decoded more of the library's archives. Our ancestors left us more than weapons and defenses. They left us plans for clean energy, medical advances, faster ships, gifts we can share with all species. The chamber erupted in excited discussion. The fear and distrust of the past weeks were fading, replaced by hope and curiosity. Even the most suspicious species had to admit that humanity had never tried to rule or control them, only protect and guide. "There is something else you should see," the library's AI announced, its voice filling the chamber. A new hologram appeared, showing Earth as it was 5 million years ago. When humanity chose to start over, they didn't just hide their technology. They seeded the galaxy with teachers, guardians, and guides. Every species here carries a small part of humanity's legacy in their DNA. The Grand Scholar nodded slowly. That's why we all developed along similar paths. Why we could all work together despite our differences. We were designed to be compatible. Not designed, Tom corrected gently. Guided, like parents teaching their children to walk, but letting them choose their own path. Ray activated another display, showing the Defense Network's readings. The entity is testing the barriers again. Different location this time. Without orders or discussion, ships from Earth and the concordat moved to strengthen the barrier at the weak point. They worked smoothly together now, as if they'd been doing it for years instead of weeks. Tom watched them with pride and hope. "Our ancestors made the right choice," he said. "They knew that fighting the entity wasn't enough. We needed to build something worth protecting. A galaxy of diverse but united species." The chamber grew quiet as a new set of cracks appeared in space. But this time, no one was afraid. The defense platforms hummed with power, ships moved into position, and species that had been strangers a month ago stood ready to fight together. Humanity had finally remembered who they were, but they had also become something new. Not just the elder species, but teachers and protectors once again. The future would hold many challenges, but they would face them the way their ancestors had intended, not alone, but as part of a greater family among the stars. The crystal around Tom's neck glowed warmly, and he smiled. The age of hiding was over. The age of unity had begun.